Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Crimi-trent. Today we're going to be painting on Floral Friday Phlox. I have one right here in my garden that I decided to pull out for you guys. Kind of looks the same, right? I mean, these are a little paler or whiter flowers, but this is much more easier to paint it pale pink, and they come like this also. I have a exclusive download drawing of this on my Patreon. If you're Patreon members, you can download this to go by and then just transfer this on your paper. If not, I show you in the video how to draw the simple petals and the leaves. So if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comment section, and also don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial is up. Let's get started. Okay, so we will go over the materials as always. I have a piece of 7 by 10 inch piece of 100% cotton arches cold pressed paper. I'll be using my Princeton long round velvet touch series brush number 8, paper towels. My palette, my paints, I'll have Cadmium Yellow deep, Peacock Blue, Quinacridone Magenta, Cadmium Green deep. I have my water jars up here. The reference, Phlox. I already traced out the drawing that I have. I have a drawing of it over on Patreon. If you're a Patreon sketchbook and above member, you can get the traceable of the Phlox over there, and you just trace it down like I did here. And when I trace it down, I just always take a kneaded eraser and kind of erase off most of the lines. If you don't have Patreon, you can just go look on the internet and see how these Phlox, they're just like these 5-petal flowers. They're kind of in a cluster. You don't ever want to draw them straight. You can draw a few straight on like you see in the drawing. I'm going to show you real quick. So just like these little petal flowers, the center, right? And you can just do a cluster of them. And then in between, like you see, like the stems are kind of going in here and little buds, but you want to just draw a cluster of them. And I know for all purpose sake, when I drew it, I have like these little spray marks, but really you're going to be painting in that dark center. And then you have that stem, and then the leaves here, they're curled like this. They can be like this, and that's how you draw it. But the traceable will be over on my Patreon. There's a link in the description box. Just keep this over here. So it's like really pale, super pale pink with a bright rose or bright magenta pink in the middle. You got these bright limey green leaves. So once you have your drawing on there, piece of paper, we're going to start by, like I said, I'm going to take off some of the drawing. Just to see. I know you can still see it, but I don't want it really that visible because I'm going to be painting flower. So I have that magenta. I'm going to get it really wet, like super wet, a lot of water, because I really want it so pale but then darker in the center. See, the more water, the less, the lighter it will be. So you can go in. This is a cute, isn't it pretty? And you're just going to fill in the real light petal, and then this still seems a little too dark for me. I'm going to grab some more water. I'm just going to push that paint around. I'm just pushing it around. See, it's very pale. I'm going to lift up some of the paint I thought was too dark. And that's how you would just get the first flushing of the color in. Then you can go in and take the magenta over here on the tip of this brush. Or if you don't have magenta and you have like this bright rose, I have bright rose over here, you can use that. And then you're going to take it, it's going to have less water, and you're going to tap it in the center. It's going to do all the work for you. Just like that. Look at that. It's like the same thing, right? We're going to do that with all the little flowers. Now I'm not going to show you a video of every single flower doing that, because it would be monotonous. You would probably go cuckoo watching me do that. But you're going to be, like I said, you're going to go back in here. You're going to fill in the flower. Again, it's a little too dark. I'll lift it up with my paintbrush and then put it back on the paper towel. See, I'm just constantly back and forth, back and forth. I'm dabbing it back on the paper towel to take off that excess paint. And I'll go in and I'll leave that circle there. And I'll grab some of the darker pink and I'm just going to tap it right around that circle and have it bleed out. This one's a little darker, and this one should be a little darker actually. Go in there and add that. If it's too not wet enough, it's fine. And so that's bleeding much better than that one. And there's a little variety, that doesn't really matter. Like I said, just keep going in. And then we can go in and add the details as we go along. So I'm just going to show you, just going to fill in a couple more. Just going to fill in those petals. You know, don't worry if it's not like whitish like this. It's going to be pinkish too. It's the same thing. They come in different colors. I can take off a little more of that paint and then go back in that center. The more water, the more it will bleed. If you want more bleed, the bigger bleed. There you go. We're going to move on to leaves. So I've got my yellow here. It's a little muddled because of I had some green in there, but that's fine. And I can use my Peacock Blue. Make that, look at it, it almost matches. I swear to God, I'm not kidding. Just those two colors. And you got your stem. Just pull that down, even though there's a leaf right here. And then pull it down here. We can add in the shadows later. See, I'm just going to fill in this leaf. Like so. I think I showed you before a trick. I'll show you now. I filled that in. And you can take a X-Acto blade, or let me grab a blade here. Or a tip of a very sharp pen or something, and just go in here and scrape, and you can get the vines right there. That's not cooperating, but I used a calligraphy pen a while ago and showed you guys this. I can just go back over that color and then it will fill in those little scrapes, see? And that's how you get those pretty fine lined details in the leaves. You don't have to do that, you can paint it too. I'll zoom back out. So we're going to fill in this green with this bright green color, and you know, again, don't have to follow everything to the T. You want to have an expression of how it's supposed to look. You can add more elements of dark than I have. So I'm just going in and filling in. This brush is great for the point when you're attaching the leaf to the stem, and a tip at the end here, and a belly to fill it all in. And then we have this fallen leaf here. If I could find that calligraphy pen, because I do my tutorials real time, people. So when I find something that I forgot about, I'm looking for it as I'm painting with you. And naturally, I cannot find it. Oh, wait, I did. So the calligraphy tip. Scrape down. Yeah, it doesn't want to cooperate. That's okay. Oh, now it did. Alright, so you scrape it down and then you make those little lines. It's just a sneaky way of doing it easily. And I'll add in the greenery up here. Just where all the leaves are, you see. You fill it all in. Now, see, the whole, it's not white, it's kind of like a blackish gray. When that dries, if you want to go in and add a little gray tone in the center. See that? There's a little dark gray. We actually have a live specimen here today. And the petals, as they're getting close to each other, you know, you want to differentiate them. So you could take just the tip of your paintbrush, just a little bit darker pink, not too much, not too dark, and just go on the outside edge, just to give the petals some definition. Just a little bit. Remember, it's not supposed to be realistic, it's an expression. I'll do a few more of these and then I'll come back with you to show you some more details. Like I said, I don't want to bore you with me filling this whole flower in because I've shown you a couple of them already. You're filling in those petals with that loose, damp water. This one's a little, this pink changed a little bit. I might have had something on my brush that changed the pink tone of just a tad from the bright tone that it was. But that's okay. I'm gonna grab that pink. Just gonna tap it right in the center and have it bleed out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a bunch of those and then I'm gonna come back and we'll go hit the details. Okay, so I went ahead and filled in a bunch of them. Now you can see it's kind of looking this way. So I have this, you know, in the drawing I have some kind of stems. It's really going to be this purpley pink stem inside here. You can see that going in here, and then it'll be attached to some greenery. Maybe not as bright as, just add a little peacock blue, get a little purpley, and stick that purple in there. It could be pink. And these are like the stems that are connecting to some of the flowers. And then we take the greenery again. We got the yellow, peacock blue, more yellow, get the greenery right. And there's a bunch of leaves and greenery attaching in here. And then I have some little buds. So there's some little greenery, just these little pieces of green peeping through. In my sketch, it's a little different than this. Peeking through, and then I'm going to show some buds peeking through. So I'm just putting in the greenery. That matches. We'll just take some of that pink right on the tip there. It goes on that purple. And loose pink, like we had before. I'm just going to put in these little buds. See, I'm just putting these little buds in. Put some pink in here. Got a little bleed by the green, that's okay. So we're just filling it in with some little buds. Get a little darker if you want. Okay, so we're getting there, right? Again, so it's kind of flat and we want more defined. We'll just take the tip of this brush with just a teeny bit of paint on here. I'm going to go on the outside edges of those petals. Just a little bit darker pink, just to give it definition. See, I'm just hitting all the little edges of each flower. I mean, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. It's just how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to put little wispy lines to add a little more lines, kind of like my sketch. It just needs to be a little more defined, in my opinion. Just hitting the edges of each little petal. See, just a little. This one didn't get the bright dark center. If it didn't do that for you, you can just put the color in here like this, and then grab some clean water and then hit the outer edge, and it can bleed a little bit, and go back in, grab some of that darker color again, and there you go. See, I'm adding a little darker magenta around the center on each one, and I'll go back in and put that gray in. We're just adding a very tiny, light touch, delicate line on the outside of the petals, just to give a definition. Little strokes. Zoom in so you can see that better. See, I'm just taking little teeny lines with the tip of this brush. Look at that. Just getting a little definition. That one got a little out of control. I'll just clean up my brush and I'll just mop it up. I just want to give it a little more definition. And then with the greenery, same thing. Get a little darker. Add a little more peacock blue, more yellow. It's a very faint green, and you just put the lines in without scraping it, if you didn't want to do the scrape technique. Just put the little faint lines in. It's just a very delicate leaf, like paper thin, and the bright green color. And then, you know, this is going to be a little bit darker in the stem here because the leaf is in front of it. You want to give it a shadow. I'm adding a little more peacock blue, and under here, and over in here, and then you can put some more darker green in here, just to punch up the green, just sporadically throughout where the green is and under the flowers. Like I said, it's an expression. It's not perfectly realistic. I'm going to go back in here. The lines kind of blended in too much and they faded away. I'm just going to add color. And this is pretty easy. I know people say it's not easy. Well, it is. You see, I just filled in the color and I did the little bleed. And then I'm going to go back in and grab that dark gray or black and go right in that center of each one. Just a little dot. Isn't that pretty? Now, let's make it more fun, right? Because to me, it's kind of boring. Let's get this pink all watery. Really watery. Lots of water. And we're going to tap it. Splatter a little bit. Let's just tap it. See? Get it on the brush and hit it. Maybe that's a little too much. Okay. Let's make it fun. Let's get a little too serious, right? And with the same with the green. Can't leave him behind. You just don't have to do the whole page, you just do a little bit. You could have put a color in the background. I'm just showing you for intents purposes of just showing that the flower looks like when you're painting it. How you make it different, you just add more, make it a bouquet. Go back in here and add a little touch of darker green. Just on the under edge here. Just a little bit. But this is the Phlox, or however you want to say it. Phlox. See, I'm just going in and tweaking it. That's pretty much it. Right? You think it looks the same? I mean, obviously it's bigger. I could have made it skinnier and smaller, but I didn't. And I did forget a leaf here. Excuse me for that. I put one behind here in my drawing that's on the Patreon. And I will show you if you have a leaf being behind or underneath, you're going to need to show the shadow of that because it's under there. So we'll grab some darker green. Get a little darker in here. Just going to bleed some of that. And over in here. And I could use my technique if I wanted to again. Make those lines. I just pull this dark color down again. And add light green. You're playing around with the color tone, just adding a little more dark green here. Maybe a little more in here. And that's pretty straightforward. The Phlox. That's what you want to call it. Phlox! Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this on Floral Friday. Again, if you're a Patreon member, you can download this pretty little sketch to go by. And, you know, if you have a computer, you can shrink it and make a bunch of them, make different sizes, and then draw it on your paper that way, instead of just being straightforward like this. I mean, you can just do this too. But I just show you how you do those simple little petals. And then you can go back and, like I said, and add little details, just the little sprays like you see in the drawing, just to punch up the flower a little more. The flower on this one underneath is a little darker because it's under these ones. But it's the same kind of technique as the other ones. And over here, just want to put little marks of the petals. And this one too got a little lost in the crowd. I can use the paint that I splattered actually and go next to it and move it around. Very convenient. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to check my Patreon out. Exclusive videos there every week. And have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.